belated Easter. Hope this class finds you well. I hope you managed to get out a little bit over the bank holiday weekend. I know it all feels very strange at the moment, having to adjust what we're doing and maybe alternative ways of seeing family and friends and doing the things that we would normally do. But hopefully you've managed to find some of that sunshine and enjoyed a few days off from whatever you might ordinarily be doing. So here we are this afternoon, and I hope for the next sort of half an hour, 40 minutes, you can connect with yourself and join in what we're doing and find a little bit of peace and a little bit of calm in amongst the madness and the chaos that's happening all around us at the moment. So come to your mat and find a nice quiet space around you, and find yourself in a cross-legged position, gently moving the flesh of the buttocks out to the sides, and just take a moment with your hands either resting down in your lap, with your hands on your knees, and just take a few moments here to find some stillness, to find some space. And if you're comfortable, to just gently close down your eyes and tune into your breath. So observing the breath as it flows in and out through the nose. Rolling the shoulders down away from the ears, keeping the back of the neck nice and long. The fingertips just gently curling in towards the palms. Noticing and observing the body initially. Feeling the rise and the fall of the chest as you inhale and exhale. Feeling the breath moving all the way down into the diaphragm. Feeling the lungs and the lower part of the belly expanding as you inhale, and releasing and relaxing as you exhale. Taking a few rounds of your breath. Breathing in and breathing out. Feeling your sit bones, your legs, your feet really connecting down, grounding down as you sit. Taking just another moment here. And gently on an inhale, just blinking open the eyes and rolling over the knees, coming to start in our extended child's pose. So taking the feet together, the knees to the width of the mat, sitting up initially, just feeling the sit bones rooting down onto the heels, and slowly starting to walk the fingertips forwards, keeping the gaze up, keeping the fingertips outstretched, and then gently placing the palms flat down on the ground and placing the head down on the ground, sinking the hips back to the heels, keeping the hands active, so walking the fingertips forwards, keeping the wrists and the elbows lifted from the mat and sinking down to the heels. We'll be here for a few breaths, so keeping the hands active, the fingertips spreading wide, keeping the sit bones rooting down to the heels, and releasing the head and the neck down to the ground. And slowly on an inhale, coming up to all fours, bringing the knees together, then tucking the toes, lifting the hips, raising up into our downward facing dog. So again, really spreading out the fingers, turning the thumbs, they're facing in towards each other, the middle fingers facing forwards, the shoulders rolling down away from the ears, the back of the legs are strong, the kneecaps pulling up to the thighs, and the gaze just down towards the navel. Breathing here. Really rolling the shoulders down the back, creating space in the neck, space in the spine. And then slowly walking the feet up to the top of the mat, coming to stand in our forward fold, so keeping the legs strong, dropping the head down, gazing towards the navel, either keeping the hands down on the ground or just resting the hands on the shins, wherever's comfortable for you. And then slowly we're going to uncurl the spine, vertebra by vertebra, keeping the head down until last. And raising up, taking the hands up to the sky, taking a slight back bend here, and then folding forwards, coming now into our sun salutations. So folding forwards, inhaling, taking the fingertips to the shins, keeping a flat back or keeping the fingertips on the floor. We're going to bend the knees, step the left foot, step the right foot back to our plank. So starting by dropping the knees, chest and chin to the ground, and inhaling, coming up to our cobra, taking the weight out of the hands, using the back muscles to come up. And planting the hands, tucking the toes, lifting up into our downward facing dog. Holding here for 1, rolling the shoulders away from the ears for 2, 3, legs are strong, kneecaps pulling up to the thighs, 4, and 5, bending the knees, stepping the left, stepping the right foot to the front of the mat, looking forwards, fingertips on the ground, exhaling, folding forwards, inhaling, arms coming up above the head, exhaling, hands in front of the chest, inhaling, sweeping the arms up, exhaling, folding forwards, inhaling, fingertips on the ground, looking forward, exhaling, plant the hands, stepping the left and the right foot back to plank, bending through the elbows this time, or taking the knees, chest, chin as before. And then inhaling, either keeping the thighs down and coming up to cobra, or lifting the thighs, coming up to our upward facing dog. And then turning the toes, sinking the hips back to our downward facing dog, and holding here. So options there, either keeping with these through the knees, chest, chin, or starting to come down through our chaturanga and upward facing dog as just demonstrated. So breathing here for 4 and 5, bending the knees, stepping left, stepping right to the front of the mat, fingertips on the ground, looking forward, exhaling, folding forwards, inhaling, arms coming up, exhaling, hands in front of the chest. So option here, this time to start jumping back or taking that first version as you prefer. So inhaling, bringing the arms up, exhaling, folding forwards, inhaling, fingertips on the ground, looking forward, bend the knees, plant the hands, step or jump back to plank, dropping through chaturanga or knees, chest, chin, inhaling, upward facing dog, exhaling, downward facing dog, holding here, allowing the breath to settle for 1, 2, 3, really planting down through the hands, spreading each finger wide, 4, and 5, bending the knees, stepping or jumping to the front, fingertips on the ground, looking forward, exhaling, folding forwards. Inhaling, arms coming up above the head. Exhaling, hands in front of the chest. Coming this time into our slight variation. So bending the knees, inhaling, coming up through chair pose. So tucking the tailbone, gazing up towards the thumbs, sinking down into the hips, dropping the shoulders away from the ears and keeping the gaze up towards the thumbs. If it's too much on the shoulders, you can keep the hands slightly apart. Exhaling, folding forwards. Inhaling, fingertips on the ground, looking forwards, bend the knees, step or jump back to plank, dropping through chaturanga. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. This time turning the left foot in, right foot steps forward, arms coming up to our warrior one. So checking in with your alignment, hips are facing the short edge of the mat, back leg is strong, arms up above the head, gaze is up towards the thumbs. Exhaling, hands coming down outside that front foot, stepping back to plank, dropping through chaturanga. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Right toe turns in, left foot steps forward, arms coming up, warrior one. Exhaling, hands coming down, outside that front foot, stepping back to plank, dropping through chaturanga and inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog, holding here for 1, 2, strong through those legs, pulling the kneecaps up towards the thighs, back of the neck is long for 4 and 5, bending the knees, looking forward, stepping or jumping to the front, fingertips on the ground, looking forwards, exhaling, folding forwards. Inhaling, bending the knees, arms coming up, exhaling, hands in front of the chest. So speeding things up a little this time, bending the knees, inhaling, arms coming up, exhaling, folding forwards. Inhaling, fingertips on the ground, bend the knees, plant the hands, step or jump back to plank, dropping through chaturanga. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Left toes turn in, right foot steps forward, arms coming up, warrior one. Exhaling, hands coming down, stepping back to plank, dropping through chaturanga. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog, other side. Right toes turn in, left foot steps forward, arms coming up, warrior one. Exhaling, hands coming down, stepping back to plank, dropping through chaturanga. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog, holding here, slowing the breath down for 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Bending the knees, stepping or jumping to the front of the mat, fingertips on the ground, looking forwards, exhaling, folding forwards, inhaling, bending the knees, coming up through chair, exhaling, hands in front of the chest. Okay, final round. Bending the knees, inhaling, arms coming up, exhaling, folding forwards. Inhaling, fingertips on the ground, looking forward, exhale, plant the hands, step or jump back to plank, dropping through chaturanga, inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog, left toes turn in, right foot steps forward, arms coming up, warrior one. Exhaling, hands coming down outside that front foot, stepping back to plank, dropping through chaturanga. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog, right toes turn in, left foot steps forwards, arms coming up, warrior one. Exhaling, hands coming down outside that front foot, stepping back to plank, dropping through chaturanga, inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog, final 5, holding strong. For 1, 2, kneecaps pulling up towards the thighs, 3, fingertips spread, middle fingers facing forwards, 4, and 5, bending the knees, looking forward, stepping, or jumping to the front of the mat. Fingertips on the ground, looking forward, exhaling, folding forwards. Inhaling, bending the knees, arms coming up, exhaling, hands in front of the chest. Okay, giving everything a little bit of a shake about. We're going to step to the front of the mat, take the feet together, standing strong in our mountain pose, Tadasana. Rolling the shoulders down, palms open, facing forwards. We're going to take a big step with the right, pivot on that left foot, and turn the right toes to the front of the mat. So our hips here coming into triangle pose, facing the long edge of the mat. Arms are coming out to the sides. Gazing over that front middle finger. We're going to roll over towards that right hand, and then dropping that right hand down to the ground, taking the gaze up to that left hand, opening the chest to the side, keeping both legs really strong. For 3, 4, and 5, inhaling, coming all the way up, pivoting on the feet, coming straight over that left side, taking the left hand down to the ground, taking the right hand up to the sky for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inhaling, coming all the way up. Pivoting on that foot once again, we're going to take a slightly shorter stance with the feet, coming into our revolve triangle. So taking the hips to face the short edge of the mat. Right hand comes to the base of the right hip. Hips are facing forward. Left arm comes up to the sky as we inhale, and then exhale, folding forward, taking that hand down, either taking a block if that's more comfortable to allow the chest to open, or taking that hand down to the ground, taking the gaze up over that shoulder, and dropping that hand down, forwards and round and up to the sky, taking the gaze up to that right hand for 2, 3, 4, and 5. Sweeping that hand round, coming all the way up, pivoting on the feet, taking to the other side. So left hand comes to the base of that left hip, right hand comes up to the sky, inhaling and exhaling, folding forwards. Again, taking a block to the outside of that left foot, if that's more available to you, or taking that right hand down to the ground. When you're stable, dropping that left arm down, up and round, looking up to that top hand, opening the chest to the side for 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inhaling, coming all the way up, standing off to the top of the mat. Coming now into our extended side angle. So again, I'll come to this. And so taking the feet together, once again taking a step back with the right foot, Taking a slightly wider stance this time, so keeping the right toes again facing towards the short edge of the mat, and that left foot is just in again, about 45 degrees. We're going to take a bend in our right foot. Hips this time facing the long edge of the mat. We're going to take our right elbow down to the right knee. Inhaling, taking that left arm up and over. It might be enough to stay here, or you might wish to take that right hand to the inside of that right foot, or even take a bind, taking the right arm underneath and opening the chest to the side. Wherever you are, keeping that left leg really strong. For 3, 4, and 5. Inhaling, releasing the bind, coming all the way back up to center, pivoting on the feet, coming straight down onto the other side. So again, either taking that left elbow onto the left knee, or taking it down to the floor, gazing up under that right armpit. If you took the bind on the other side, feel free to come into it again on this side, holding that back leg really strong. For 3, 4, and 5. Releasing the bind, coming all the way up, pivoting on the feet. We're going to this time drop our left knee down to the ground. So our left knee is down on the ground, our right foot is on the floor with a right angle. So the knee of that right foot is stacking directly over the ankle. We're going to come into our twisted side angle. So taking the left arm up to the sky, we're going to take the left elbow over that right knee. Taking the hands, I'll come around that side so you can see a bit better. So we're taking the left elbow over that right knee, opening the chest to the right, gazing up towards that top elbow. If it's very comfortable here, you can start to come onto that tiptoe of the left foot. And you can even take that left hand down to the outside of the right foot, taking the right arm up to the sky, keeping that left leg either with the knee on the ground, or if you are up on the toes, keeping it really strong. For 3, 4, and 5. Coming all the way up, pivoting on the feet, coming down onto the other side. So right knee can be on the ground, right elbow over that left knee, either staying here or coming up onto those back toes, maybe taking the right arm down to the ground, the left arm up to the sky, and holding here for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inhaling, coming all the way up, stepping off to the front of the mat. Coming now into our reverse prayer, forward fold. So taking, again, a step with that right foot, pivoting on the feet, hips are facing the short edge of the mat. And take the arms out to the side. I'm going to join the hands in prayer behind our back. If that's available, if that's not, then just take hold of opposite elbows or form the hands in fist behind your back, wherever's available for you today. So keeping both legs really strong, inhaling, gazing forwards, exhaling as we start to fold over that front leg, drawing the chest down towards the shin. For 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inhaling, coming all the way up, pivoting on the feet, taking that on the other side. So keeping the hands where they are, inhaling, gazing forwards, exhaling, folding forwards. For 1, 2, keeping the kneecaps pulling up to the thighs. 3, 4, and 5. Inhaling, coming all the way up, pivoting on the feet, stepping back to the front of the mat. Inhaling, taking the arms up to the sky, exhaling, folding forwards. Inhaling, coming up onto fingertips, stepping or jumping back to plank, dropping through chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Inhaling, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Taking just a moment, if you need to come onto your knees here and rest down in child's pose, then do at any time. Feel free to come down to child's pose and rest. Okay, meeting back and down facing dog when you're ready. So we're going to come into a slight arm balance here. So we're going to bend the knees, step or jump the feet just behind the hands. We're going to come into crow pose. So there's a few options here. So you can have a block behind you, and you can take your heels up onto the block. So we've been working on this a bit in some previous weeks. So taking the heels up onto a block, you're working to take the knees right up into the armpits. So from here then it's a case of pivoting the body forwards, coming right up onto the tiptoes. You can start to play around with taking one foot off, taking the other foot off, leaning into the hands, and then eventually coming forwards and taking both feet off and holding here, drawing the feet up. From here you can step down and step back to meet in plank, or you can play around with shooting the legs. If you have a block there, it's a bit more tricky. Inhaling, coming up to upward facing dog, and coming back down to downward facing dog. Note to self, move the block away first. From here, going to step or jump back to the front of the mat. Fingertips on the ground, looking forward, exhaling, folding forwards. Inhaling, arms coming up above the head, exhaling, hands in front of the chest. Okay, going to come now into a couple of balancing poses. So, taking the weight into the left, we're going to take the right foot up and over. The right toes might come to the outside of the left ankle, to the outside of the knee, or they might loop around the back of the shin. So we're going to take our right leg over the top, take the arms out to the side, so the right leg is on top, so the right arm's going to swing under the left, linking the hands, taking the elbows down and away, moving the hands down and away from the face, sinking into that standing leg. For 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inhaling, coming all the way up, releasing the hands and then coming onto the other side. So left leg links around the right, or just taking it to the outside of the foot or the knee, and then the left leg is on top, so the left arm's going to come underneath the right, taking the hands down away from the face, feeling that stretch on the shoulders, opening across the upper back. For 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inhaling, coming all the way up. Coming now into our tree pose. So taking the weight into the left foot, taking the right foot either to the inside of the ankle, to the inside of the shin, or drawing it up to the inside of the left thigh. Just taking caution not to take that foot to the inside of the knee. We don't want to be pushing out on that knee joint. So finding your max place for the moment, drawing the hands in towards the heart center, and playing around here, either keeping the hands where they are, maybe drawing the hands up, maybe spreading the arms out to the side, maybe closing down the eyes and feeling what that does to challenge your balance. So finding that point of focus, that point of stillness, and staying here for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Drawing the hands down, taking that right foot back down to the ground, taking the weight into that right foot, replanting and taking the left foot again into the inside of the shin, the inside of the ankle, or drawing that foot up into the thigh, again just avoiding the knee joint, taking the hands to heart center or wherever you would like. Maybe again closing down the eyes and challenging your balance. Really important to keep that sense of proprioception, so by playing around with balancing, we really have to focus the mind, focus the breath, and keep an eye on where all of our parts of our body are at this moment in time. So drawing the hands back down, taking hold of that left foot, maybe shaking out the legs left and right, coming now into our twisted leg stretch. So taking the right foot up off the floor, taking the left hand onto the outside of the right knee, and the right hand to the inside of the right knee. Either staying here, if that's enough of a challenge, or taking the right foot to the left hand, the outside of the right foot, and the left hand, let me start again. The left hand to the outside of the right foot, and the right hand to the inside of the right foot. Taking that leg out then straight in front of you, keeping the left hand where it is, right arm opens behind you, keeping the gaze, if you can, slowly taking it towards that right hand, keeping the left leg really strong for 3, 4, and 5. Coming out, ideally the way you went in, and coming onto the other side. So taking the weight into the right foot, taking the right hand to the inside of the left, either holding the knee, and if you're here, you can still work that left arm back, taking the gaze round, or holding on to the outside of the left hand and the inside, taking that foot up, releasing that left hand up and over, finding that point of focus behind you and holding here, keeping that right leg really strong for 1, 2, 3, 4, coming back to the centre, coming out the way you went in, releasing that down. Okay, inhaling, taking the arms up, exhaling, folding forwards, inhaling, coming up to the fingertips, gazing forwards, bending the knees, stepping or jumping back to plank. So working our core now a little bit here. We're going to hold in our plank. So keeping an eye on your alignment. We're going to hold here for 8 breaths. If you need to come down to the knees at any time, then do. Otherwise, we're holding here for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. For a count of 6, we're going to slowly lower to our belly. For 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're resting down on our belly. You can take the hands underneath the head, slowly just gaze to one side, stretching out the neck, and then gazing to the other, releasing down. Preparing now for a few heart opening postures. So taking the hands down to the sides of the body, palms facing down. We're going to inhale, keeping the head initially down on the ground. We're going to inhale, raising everything up into our Shalabhasana. For 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Releasing down, taking the head to gaze to the left. And then taking the hands down once again, coming into that again. So inhaling, lifting everything up, taking the gaze up, keeping the forehead soft, keeping the legs zipped up as 1, shoulders rolling back and down for 3, 4, and 5. Releasing down, taking the head to the right. Good, okay. Coming now up onto our knees. Just taking child's pose for a moment, taking the knees wide, sitting down on our heels, sinking the head down. And then coming up to our knees. So we're sitting up on our knees. So we're taking the knees to hip distance apart, taking the feet out behind us. We're going to come here into our camel pose. So either taking the hands as if they're in your jeans pocket. We're going to roll the shoulders down and slowly start to gaze back. It might be enough to stay here, or you might wish to take the hands down to the feet, keeping the hips forwards, and then if it's comfortable, taking the head back, just coming to wherever is comfortable for you today. Breathing here for 3, 4, and 5. Inhaling, coming all the way up. Coming now onto our backs. I'm going to take another couple of back bends. So starting with a half bridge, so taking the feet down onto the ground, keeping the hands reaching down towards the ankles, palms down flat on the ground. I'm going to plant the feet, inhale, lift the hips, tuck the chin towards the chest, and breathing here. For 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Slowly, vertebra by vertebra, blowing down. Then either taking that again, or replanting the feet, taking the hands down by the shoulders. If you're comfortable here, coming up into our full wheel. So inhaling, raising up, gazing down towards the mat, keeping the legs nice and strong. For 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Tucking the chin down towards the chest, slowly again, vertebra by vertebra, lowering back down to the ground, taking the hands up, taking the feet up, and then hugging the knees in towards the chest, and maybe just rolling slightly from side to side. Coming now just to a couple of releasing postures before starting to finish. So when you're ready, rolling up slightly, up and down on the spine, coming to sit in our forward fold, taking the flesh of the buttocks out to the side and just allowing the body to fold forwards over the legs. The back can be slightly rounded here, don't worry to be catching your feet or just doing anything. Just allowing the body to fold forwards over the legs. And inhaling, rolling all the way up. We're going to take our Janu Shavasana, so our one-legged forward fold. So taking the right foot in towards the left thigh. Inhale, elongate the spine, and exhale, folding forward. And this time we are going to either catch the foot, or you can take a belt if the foot isn't available to you, keeping the spine nice and straight, and then starting to come down over that leg, keeping the left leg really strong. Good. And then inhaling, coming back to the centre, taking the right foot in front of you, taking the left foot in towards the thigh. Again, either using a belt or inhaling, reaching forwards, and exhaling, holding on to the outside of the foot, keeping the spine nice and straight, folding forwards, keeping the gaze forwards beyond the toes. When we look down, we tend to round, so keeping the back nice and long, gazing forwards for 3, 4, and 5. Inhaling, coming all the way up, taking both legs out in front of you, coming down now, again onto our backs, taking our fish pose here, Matsyasana as a counter posture, so taking the thumbs underneath the buttocks, rooting down through the elbows, keeping the legs strong. We're going to inhale, lift up through the elbows, raising the chest up to the sky, looking back and resting the crown of the head on the ground. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inhale, releasing, coming now into our happy baby, so taking the hands to the outside blade of the feet, planting the back, lower back down on the ground, and just finding stillness here, allowing the body to come back down. Maybe closing the eyes down here as we come towards the end of our practice. Maybe just rolling gently from side to side, massaging out the kidneys into the ground, releasing any toxins that are building up there. Or just finding stillness, your choice. Feet, drawing the knees in towards the chest, going to come into our easy spinal twist here, so keeping the right knee in towards the chest, the left leg out long, taking hold of that right knee with the left hand, taking the right hand out to the side of the body, taking the right foot over to the left. Taking the gaze over to the right, keeping sure that right shoulder doesn't lean off the ground. So making sure the right shoulder is planted into the ground. If it does, lift off. Just come up slightly with that right knee. Inhaling, coming back to the centre, drawing that knee in towards the chest. Drawing the left knee in towards the chest and taking that right leg out straight in front of you. Coming on to the other side, so left hand out to the side, right hand over that left knee, drawing the left knee over to the side, taking the gaze over those left fingers. Maybe again closing down the eyes here. Coming back in towards your breath. And coming all the way up. Once again, hugging that knee in towards the chest. Hugging both knees, just taking this time to make any micro movements that your body feels that it needs before taking the legs down in front of you. Taking a moment here in Shavasana. So drawing the hands to the side of the body, tucking the shoulders underneath, tucking the pelvis down, allowing the feet just to splay out to the sides. Palms are facing up, fingers are curling in towards the hand. And just finding that moment of stillness here. Staying down in your Shavasana for a couple of minutes as you allow your body to rest down in that deeper level, deeper state of relaxation and release after having worked quite intensively for the last little while. Allowing everything now to just release. If you want, you can pause the video here and stay in your Shavasana for as long as you like. Just join back in with us when you're ready. So really breathing into those areas of the body that feel like they have worked, feel that they've been moving around, maybe moving more than you might have done during the rest of your day. I know lots of us at the moment are spending more time than we're used to inside and not moving. Maybe you're working at a desk. So really recognizing what is going on for you in your body. Just starting to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, bring a bit of life back into the body. When you're ready in your own time, gently rolling over onto your right side, taking a couple of moments here. And gently easing yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Keeping the eyes closed. Keeping the gaze just softly down towards the floor. Again, taking a moment here, recognizing how the body feels. Does it feel any different to when you started? Does your mind feel any different to when you started? Remembering that this feeling this space that you've created for yourself. You can come back to this at any time, coming onto your mat, finding that stillness, finding that breath, quietening down the mind. And while you're here, I just wanted to finish with a little short reading just from this book, Journey to the Heart. So it says, to listen to the voice of your heart. Cultivate the art of listening to your intuition, your inner voice. This is the guidance of your heart. It's a voice that speaks differently from the one in your head. The heart whispers softly, the head prattles loudly. The head has an agenda for our lives. It chatters away boldly, but its vision is limited. It leaves no room for the mysterious workings of the universe, nor does it take into account the side trips we need to get where we're going, where our souls need to go. It's the voice that says, this is the way it's going to be. The heart, the inner voice, speaks differently. Sometimes it whispers, sometimes it pulls, sometimes it pushes. It's spontaneous, in the present moment, and often a surprise. The heart takes into account what has to be done and the best way to do that. The heart takes emotions into account, the way things feel, the way you feel, the wisdom of your soul. The heart leads us into and through the lessons we're here to learn. Cultivate your inner voice. Practice listening to the whispers of your heart. Practice trusting your intuition, what you really feel, what you really know. Practice until that voice is the one that you hear. Be patient, be gentle. Let yourself learn to hear the gentle and trustworthy words of your heart. So when you're ready, taking your hands together in front of the heart center, the eyes can stay closed. Taking a couple of breaths here. And when you're ready, slowly just rubbing your hands together in front of the chest, taking the hands over the eyes, feeling the darkness behind the hands and opening the eyes into the hands, taking the hands back down. Namaste everybody, thank you. Again, if anybody has any comments or feedbacks or questions, then do fire them my way. Always happy to have a chat and connect with people. So in the meantime, keep well, keep active as much as you can, and look after yourselves, look after each other, and I will see you next week.